human rights continues to be a major problem for the Chinese Communist Party. The CCP is currently sponsoring a genocide against a Muslim minority, the Uyghurs, in Xinjiang province. The West acknowledges that this is a genocide. What do we need to know about the values of a government that is willing to commit a genocide on its own people?
I think we need to understand that this threat won't just be contained to the Xinjiang autonomous region, that they are perfecting this model of technototalitarian control, and they're going to export it not only throughout the borders of China, but increasingly would like to see a world that looks more like Xinjiang. We need to be clear that America will not stand idly by while this is happening. It's why I think it was very productive for us to pass the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act in a bipartisan fashion. And one of the things we need to do on the Select Committee is to conduct basic oversight to make sure that that's actually being enforced so that we're not dependent on slave labor.
How is enforcement going?
I think it's very embryonic right now. I think I think there's a lot of companies that have questions about how do they comply with it. There's a question about how you certify that your supply chains don't sort of run through Xinjiang. So I think we have a lot of work yet to be done on enforcing that.
I mean, Nike is one of these companies who actively lobbied against the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act. Many American companies and industries, frankly, are tied in knots in the context of their businesses and their assets and their investments in China. One is the NBA, another is Apple. In 2020, you said, I think we have to subpoena the CEOs of Apple, Hollywood executives, and the NBA just to get a better understanding for the American people about how China is leveraging its economic power to coerce American citizens and craft certain narratives that are really damaging around the world. Tell me more about that.
Well, I think we saw this with Hong Kong play out in the NBA in particular. And the concern seemed to be, well, let's not compromise the business that we have in China. That is troubling for a lot of Americans. We want American companies to act like American companies in support of American values. And if you remember, the protesters that were on the streets in Hong Kong, as the CCP was taking over, were in many cases waving American flags. They were looking to us for leadership. So I get it. I don't begrudge the effort from major American companies to make money all around the world. And I understand that China is this massive market, but we don't want to allow the CCP to use access to their market as a weapon to silence Americans and undermine American values. So I think we can have a productive conversation with Disney, with the NBA, with Apple. I genuinely want to understand how they think about doing business in China. We have to have that conversation, difficult though it may be at times.